For nearly 1,000 years, Europe remained largely confined to one geographic region. Its major earlier attempt to expand, the Crusades, failed to establish lasting control outside Europe. Yet Europe was not completely isolated. African and Asian goods continued to reach medieval markets, Muslim philosophical works circulated through universities, and even the Vikings reached the fringes of North America in the 9th and 10th centuries. Still, contact with non-European peoples remained limited until the end of the 15th century. By the late 1400s, Europeans undertook a series of remarkable overseas journeys. This raises a key historical question. Why were Europeans suddenly motivated and able to explore beyond their continent? 1. Europeans had always been attracted to the Middle East and Far East. During the Middle Ages, legends of the East, riches, fantastical lands, and mysterious peoples circulated widely. Although Muslim control of Central Asia limited direct travel, the 13th century Mongol conquests temporarily reopened routes to Asia. The most famous Europeans to venture eastward were the Polos of Venice, especially Marco Polo. Their stories inspired generations of Europeans to dream of Asia. By the 14th century, the overland trade routes that once connected Europe to Asia were effectively closed due to the rise of the Ottoman Turks and the collapse of Mongol rule. This situation worsened when the Ottomans captured Constantinople in 1453, causing Europe to lose its last major land link to the Far East. As a result, Europeans intensified their efforts to find an alternative sea route to Asia. Historians often summarize European motives for exploration with the 3 Gs, beginning with gold, which represents the strong economic motivations driving exploration. Economic incentives were the primary force behind these ventures, as Europeans sought valuable goods such as gold, spices, silk, precious gems, and other luxurious items from Asia that were scarce or unavailable in Europe. These goods reached Europe through Arab and Italian merchants, but with every exchange, prices went higher. By the late 1400s, Asian goods were enormously expensive by the time they reached European consumers. Newly emerging nation-states, particularly Portugal and Spain, sought direct access to lucrative trade routes with the East. Monarchs such as King John II of Portugal and Ferdinand and Isabella of Spain aimed to bypass intermediaries and secure the wealth of Eastern trade for their own kingdoms. Explorers and soldiers were also eager to take part in these ventures. One Spanish conquistador famously captured their motivations when he said, "We came to serve God and His Majesty, to give light to those in darkness, and to grow rich, as all men desire to do." This statement highlights another major motive driving exploration: the pursuit of wealth and personal enrichment. Portugal and Spain possessed strong crusading traditions, and their efforts in exploration unfolded during a period marked by intense religious competition and widespread missionary zeal. Although economic interests often took priority for many rulers, religious motivations were nonetheless deeply significant. Europeans sought to convert non-Christians and expand the reach of Christianity into Africa, Asia, and eventually the Americas. Catholic monarchs, in particular, regarded missionary work as a sacred responsibility tied to their rule. This spiritual drive was closely intertwined with, and cannot be separated from, the broader religious climate of the 15th and 16th centuries. European rulers also sought national glory through overseas exploration, which promised enhanced international prestige, greater political power, and the acquisition of new territories. At the same time, individual explorers were motivated by the prospect of fame, adventure, military honor, and opportunities for social advancement. In this way, exploration held the promise of both personal recognition and the transformation and elevation of their nations on the global stage. The motivations discussed help explain why Europeans were eager to explore, but they do not explain how such journeys became possible. By the late 15th century, several technological and institutional developments enabled long-distance voyages. Advances in ship design, particularly the invention of the caravel, made ocean travel more practical and efficient, while improved navigational tools such as the compass, astrolabe, and portolan charts allowed sailors to travel with greater accuracy. At the same time, expanding geographical knowledge gave explorers a better understanding of the wider world. Stronger, more centralized monarchies also played a crucial role by providing the financial support necessary to fund these expensive expeditions. These enabling factors will be examined more closely in the next video.